Hi there, I'm Stacy, the mixed media encaustic artist behind Studio Stacy. I often get asked a lot about what is encaustic. So today I thought I would answer that question for you and also show you my lovely encaustic workspace. Encaustic paint is beeswax, and that is mixed with these little crystals which are called damar resin. Now, you can buy this in a pre-made form from most major art supply stores, and that comes in little pellets like this. This is encaustic wax that you can buy from the art store. I prefer to make my own out of the beeswax and damar crystals. And I like to do that for two different reasons. I can control the hardness of the encaustic wax, and I can also mix my own paint colors. And I use dried pigment to do that. You can again buy encaustic in a pre-made color wax form like this, and it's hard when you buy it. Or this is stuff that I've made, and again, when it's hard before you melt it up, feels like wax. Then I melt it using griddles like this, and as you can see, when it's melted, it's paintable, so you can paint this onto a surface. And you'll notice the thermometers that I have in them, and again, the encaustic paint when melted turns obviously into a liquid form that you can then paint. And that brings me to the paint brushes. All of the paint brushes that you need to use with encaustic are natural bristle brushes. So a little bit about the griddles and the brushes. And then, of course, the temperature that you need to keep them at. You don't want your encaustic paint to smoke because that is not good for you. Which then brings me to the heat. So once you paint the encaustic paint onto your board, you need to fuse it between each layer. And I have a couple different things that I fuse with. One is a small torch head, which you can see here. And this is hooked up to a propane tank that I have. So a little torch head. And then I have a big guy, a much larger torch head. Hopefully you can see that in the camera there. And then again, depending on, this is used for big paintings and the small torch head is used for smaller paintings typically. Then I also have a heat gun that I use, and this is if I'm using any flammable type of material, which I often use, such as tea bags or leaves, flowers, things like that. Anything that can catch on fire when you have a flame directly on them with the torches, I use the heat gun for. A few more tools that you want to have on hand when working with encaustic is a fire extinguisher. Always good to have on hand just in case. It's never happened, knock on wood, but you never know. Always good to have on hand. I also have a pair of, or several pairs of gloves. When I'm working with the dried materials, the dried pigments, it's always nice to have a pair of gloves on hand. So just in case you don't want to get anything on your hands if you touch your face or anything like that. And then various different tools to scrape off layers. That comes in handy in case you cover up something that you don't want to cover up. You can just simply scrape that layer away. And then let's see, anything else? Last bit, you never know, you might want a Band-Aid on hand. So that covers the tools. Hopefully that was helpful to you guys. And that brings me to this big workspace. This workspace started with a set of map drawers, which I will show you here in a moment. That's how this workspace all started. But basically, this is a large space with a glass top on it. And again, that prevents any fire from going on. It protects the rest of the surface space. and it's easy to clean because I can simply scrape the wax off. Here's the set of map drawers that I was talking about that holds up this entire workspace. These drawers actually came from an old barn in the area, and the couple that we got them from was very, very sweet. They actually gave us a set of them for completely free because they were in such bad shape. But as you can see, they open and I have various things in here, but it's a great little space. The hardware on them, I found from various different locations in Northeast Ohio, various different flea markets and such, and I just love them. They're perfect. This is right underneath my workspace where I stand every day to paint the paintings, and I just wanted to show you this is where I store all my pre-made encaustic paints that I have. They're in little cigar boxes that I've collected throughout the years, and of course I had to label each one so that I know what colors are in them. So if you open this up, there's all the greens and browns. I touched briefly on the encaustic layering process. Most of my paintings have about 10 to 20 layers of encaustic wax on them, and I just wanted to show you this because it's a good example of all of those layers. Each encaustic painting, I start with about 4 layers of clear encaustic medium, and then after that clear encaustic medium is put on, I put on several different layers. That may be a layer of blue, a layer of yellow, pink, whatever I am picturing in my head, that's what goes on next. And again, between each layer, it gets fused with the torch. In this particular painting, it's a good example of all the layers because you can see in this T here, there's some blues. But then when you come to the S, you've got some yellows and greens and some pinks in the U. And then also on top of this is some shellac. That's kind of that veining. And then the white is the very last layer on here. And you can see on this white, that's about 4 layers, and the depth of that you'll see because I peeled off of the white layer to expose these letters, so you can really see the depth of that layer. I hope this was helpful, and again, any questions at all, just ask away about any of the setup, the map drawers, the hardware, any of it. I'm happy to help out. If you happen to like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're so inclined to, please subscribe and hit that little bell down below there. That will give you a notification every time I make a new video. All right, thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.